People are seeing it.
All right. Welcome and good morning, everyone. How's it going? Sean, how you doing, buddy?
What's up, my friend?
I'm good. I'm great, man. I'm really, really happy to be here. You know, I had a total epiphany this morning that this was kind of like public access. It's like modern day version of public access television. So basically, you and I are the modern day Wayne and Garth. So party on, Wayne.
And party on, Garth.
Awesome, awesome. Thank you guys all for coming out. We are live as of now. We see you guys in the chat, so make sure you tell us where you are and how we know you, especially if your name is somewhat cryptic, so we can say hi to you. We're going to do our best to keep track of the chat as we go along. But welcome, and thank you so much for joining us. Sean, I'll turn it over to you.
Wow, I can't believe we're actually live. This is amazing. Hey, we are super psyched to be here. And this is actually something that Lee and I have talked about for quite a while. And it's actually probably quite a while, since between the two of us, we have, like maybe 40-something years of Disney experience?
Yeah.
That sound right?
It means we're old,
Yeah,
Sean.
crazy.
That's what that means.
I call it wisdom, Lee.
Yeah.
Wisdom. Yeah. So part of my quick past, and that brings me here with Lee today, is doing some amazing work in creativity and innovation and design thinking with the Disney company, and certainly working on the outside with my own gig with Ignite the Mind. And Lee and I used to, at different times, and I'll turn it over to him, but we used to do a report where we would collect information on really interesting trends, behaviors, just cool stuff that we saw happening in the marketplace on a global level. We put it into a monthly report, and then we would share it with some of our team members and Disney execs and so on and so forth to bring inspiration to people as they were trying to create a problem solve. And so I was in the position for a little while called Creative Inc. And then I literally left my desk, chair, and telephone and gave it to...
And all your like spam calls too. They're like, is Sean Brown not here for the 100th time? No, he does not want to buy Diamond Resorts.
I guess I never answered my phone.
Yeah. Yeah,
so
good
Lee,
stuff.
So and then you took over, and you've been engaged in the space for a number of years inside the company and then on your own.
Yes, exactly. So, hello everyone. I'm Lee Kitchen. Looks like I know most of you. Thank you guys for coming in. If you don't know, I'm an innovation catalyst, and like Sean said, I help companies and individuals be more creative. I help teach a process form of innovation and ongoing innovation through design thinking and creative problem solving. And we have been, he just said it, we've been wanting to do this for like a year, right? And, it hasn't been, no one's really doing it out in the space like we used to do it at Disney and Creative Couch. And that's one of the things I really miss. Besides all you great people, I miss doing the Creative Couch every Friday, because once a month we would gather everybody together and just show you some inspiration. And what you do with that inspiration is up to you, but just take an hour out of your day and we'll try to inspire you, and we'll try to help you kind of make the jump to connection points to make some big ideas. So we've put together some stuff today, and we hope you'll be inspired. It is, we're calling it Innovation in a Box, and Sean's going to tell you a little bit about another product that we're working on that inspired innovation in the box. But we hope to do this again once a month on the first Friday. We're using the Twitch platform because I also double and use it as my DJ platform, so I'll tell you about that later too. But we wanted to make sure that we had kind of a broadcasty style here, and this seemed like a fun place to do it. Any thing that we should talk about before we move on? I have to get out my rules here, Sean.
Yep. You gotta serve up the
Yeah,
rules.
so you guys know that I like to start out all of our sessions with what I call rules or how to be's, right? So, and most of you in the chat, I can see you've probably been to one of these things, so you probably know the rules. The first one is be positive and open-minded. And that is, as you think about these things that we're showing you, think about the positive ways you can apply them to your business. Think about, be open-minded to the possibilities, right? And that's also in the chat. We're gonna keep the negativity at a minimum and just go for some positivity here. The next thing is making sure that you share the air in the chat, and that's just being respectful to everybody as you chat. Again, it's just the two of us here. We don't have a moderator today, so we will try to make sure that we see all the stuff that you're posting. Sean, I'm just going to real-time check in. Are you seeing the chat and everything on your side over there?
Yep.
All right,
Good.
excellent. And the next rule is a little bit about yes-anding and building. So we teach this behavior that we call greenhousing, which is basically nurturing ideas. So we can't help ourselves. We're natural ideators. So we're going to start probably ideating right as we're presenting. So if you want to yes-ander our ideas, please feel free to do so. And throw in your own, because we definitely want to hear. There's some great inspiration that's going to lead to stuff, so we definitely want to hear your ideas. And then also
some say it's a talent, and some say it's an illness.
Say it again, Sean.
Some say it's a talent, and others say it's an illness.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. And if you do that foresight test, my ideation is like off the charts. It's like that's like the test, like Myers-Briggs for creativity, and it's just I'm a total ideator. I can't help myself.
Yep.
Never been able to help myself. And the final rule is be casual and have fun. We're two casual guys. We don't take ourselves too seriously. So we're just gonna pretend like you're all are hanging out in our living room, or we're hanging out at the local bar. And we haven't been able to do that in a while, so this is the next best thing. So we're really, really glad that you all came out. So I'll turn it back over to Sean. And Sean, tell us a little bit about maybe some technical things we should consider.
Absolutely. So Lee and I did reach out to the NBA production team, right? That's doing all the filming and hosting the NBA bubble. And of course, they declined our invitation to come and run the show.
Man, so, I can't imagine why.
I mean, we're talking. This is the big time, man. This is the big dance. So anyway, roll with us. We are certain some things are gonna go on. I had AT&T fiber line put in my house, and for some reason, I expected that to be like the crown jewels of internet access, and no, it does not work that great either.
We'll get into that conversation before my Spectrum cut out for like a whole day when I was doing webinars last week. That was a treat.
Yes. No Netflix, no nothing.
Yeah. Awesome. All right, so you ready? You ready to get rolling, or do you have other stuff you want to talk about first?
No. Let's roll. This is
okay.
Good.
I'm going to just warn you guys that you remember we're in our home environment, and you've seen all of those, all those bloopers with those newscasters that have their kids and kitty cats and dogs walking in. Well, I've got a huge 90-pound lab husky mix. He's sitting at my feet. His name is Gunner. He barks at just about anything and everything, so don't be scared if he barks. He's just mad at the Amazon guy for dropping off my 100th package that I've got. All right, so without further ado, let's go ahead and get rolling here. So again, welcome. We call this Inspiration in a Box because we want to help you see outside yours. So we hope that this kind of stuff will kind of lead you and connect you with some other things, and hope it inspires some inspiration of your own. So as you're seeing each one of these things, kind of ask what's behind it, what's the why, what's the principle, and take that principle and see what you might be able to do with it. So the first one here, stand by, let me get to the presentation here. The first one, this is an amazing thing that Spotify has done. It's called The Sounds of Summer. And we know that summer is kind of winding down now, and also it's winding down. This is what's cracking me up. It's totally winding down, Sean. And what I didn't even have a summer, and people are wanting to put up the fall decorations. I'm like, wait, hold on. It's fall already? Come on.
Dude, my calendar still says March.
Yeah.
Right?
Yes,
I've had no reason to
exactly. I think we're all in a little bit of denial about what we've been missing in this whole thing. So Spotify has got us covered, though. This is a great way to kind of put yourself in a mood. So just because you can't leave your house to go to that special event or go to the beach or go to a destination that you've been wanting, they're going to put it together in a little listening package for you. And basically, it allows you to choose a place, an event, or a mood, right? Three things: place, event, or mood. You can choose a song from a list of about 40 pop songs that they have on there, and then you can choose an ambient noise in the background. So if you just want to stare outside the window and wish you were at this place, or maybe read a book while you're sitting outside wishing you were somewhere else because you can't be right now because we're not leaving places, then this is the thing to do. What else? I know you pulled this, Sean. What else inspired you about this?
I just like the thought of really simple opportunities that just make people happy for a moment in time, right?
Yeah.
Like sometimes it doesn't take super big efforts and efforts that are gonna all of a sudden drive direct revenue and be trackable for that. Sometimes it's just about being just building that relationship. One thing, Lee, that I had thought of, I don't know, gosh, maybe several months ago, is we talk about building a relationship with, a consumer or a user of a product or a supporter of an organization. And honestly, I think, especially with technology, it's not just a relationship. We really should be looking to build friendships with consumers, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
And the next generations they're expecting just a deeper relationship and not just hurl stuff at me, right? Actually know me and talk to me. So
yeah,
I
personally appreciate it when companies do that. It's to me, they're going above and beyond to do that. So love that.
Yeah.
Cool. All right, next up, Motels, man, having a comeback. It's awesome.
That's right. And I will say, shout out to the people at the Dunks this morning.
Dunkin' Donuts
if
for the win.
If they might feel it in their hearts to sponsor our show, we can talk later.
We will be actively seeking partnerships. I see some of our friends from the former Alliance and Synergy Marketing in the audience. Laura is there and Cheryl's there, so we'll be asking you guys to get us a couple good sponsors here. That way we can up the prizes, right? So we get a sponsor, we get some good prizes.
That's right. So the Motels, really simple concept and just kind of fascinating at the same time. There's I don't want to say it's a full, 100% on movement, but I certainly think this is going to be something that has incredible potential post-COVID. So people are going to motels because of the safety, or the better safety and lower density of people that are traveling and staying there. Hallways that are outside, so it's not circulated air. But you're seeing this uptick in people that are renovating and making really unique motels again, and something to go to.
Really
I listened to a
interesting.
podcast recently on NPR, How I Built This, which I totally love. But it was a check-in with the CEO of Airbnb, which unbelievable the amount of revenue that they lost into March to June. But what he said, which kind of makes sense, he said they're seeing an amazing uptick in people looking to rent properties outside of cities. They want to go to small towns or out into the middle of nowhere where they're more alone.
Right.
But they want to get out of the house still.
Yeah, it's amazing just getting out of the house, Sean. Like, I really was stuck in the studio, and I love my studio. I built it from the ground up, it seems like, and I have 4 iterations of it. But I went out and played golf the other day, and just playing golf, I felt so much better just being out. So really great that that motels like this are taking advantage of it. But there's not much contact at a motel, not like a hotel where you walk in to a crowded lobby. This is you check in with one person and you have your own room. So it seems like they could really really benefit from people wanting to get out like that. And this also fascinates me because a lot of these businesses are emerging that we haven't seen before, like the drive-in theaters. I mean, so cool, right? When I was a kid, I used to love going to drive-in theaters. Shows you how old I am, but it's just a unique experience that kind of left, and now we kind of need it. So it's making a comeback.
And we're getting some comments too, just of other properties, the Rosebud Motel, Thunderbird Hotel in Savannah, Georgia, great.
Those
and
are great.
Dog friendly.
Thank you, Tsunami. Those are really nice.
Yep, brilliant.
Shinobi. I love that name too. Really
so at the
great.
End of the
Thanks.
day, Lee, at the end of the day, this is about being reinvented, right?
Yeah.
What else can be reinvented? And everyone should just always have an eye open of not just accepting things as they are right now, right? But how do you change it? How do you adapt it?
Yeah. And Diana, I'm definitely down with a Taco Bell hotel. I mean, heck, people were going to Taco Bell in Vegas to get married before, like 5 years later, they realized they might as well make a chapel out of it, right? My niece got married there. So let's make a Taco Bell hotel. And maybe that can be the home of the Mexican pizza that they just ditched. Come on. I missed the Mexican pizza. Excellent. All right. Next up here, make sure we're moving along. So you guys, this is great. I am not quite your do-it-yourselfer. As a matter of fact, I was trying to explain to my future father-in-law, who is a super smart PhD kind of guy, and he's a farmer, and he knows how to, he can take apart a transmission and put it back together. I was trying to explain to him that when I try to do things myself, I will take it all apart watching a YouTube video, and then when I go to put it back on, I'll put everything back on, but I forgot the one piece that I needed to put on before, so I'll have to retake it back up. I mean, Sean, come on, how often does that happen to you? It's
or
horrible.
it goes down the drain because you're in a rush. And you're like,
Yeah,
I'm not going to
exactly.
drop
And
this
I
nut
will
down the
inevitably
drain.
always drop a pen or the nail that I need or the washer that I need. Always. And
Right.
and then later on, I'll find all the stuff on the floor later after I got 5 other pens. So this is called Fixer. This is actually connecting you with an expert, either virtually through video or they'll actually come to your house. And so if you need to do some plumbing work, some electrical work, and you're trying to do it yourself, this is like a standby expert, and not just a virtual assistant where you're asking or a YouTube video. It's actually a person who knows what they're doing who will guide you through this. It's they say it's the first 15 minutes is free, and then it's $15 every 15 minutes after that, or $120 an hour for them to come to you in person. But wow, this is it's just a great pool of people who know what they're doing. And yes, I've learned a lot. I was talking to Sean about using this open broadcasting software. It's a what do you call it? Open source. So there's really no manual to read, and so all I have is watching gamers on YouTube videos on how to use this thing. So I love the fact that you can call an expert. It's like I said, let the experts do what the experts do best.
Do you know what I like too, Lee, is you think about what is an unused available asset, right? So Uber coming from people having cars and having time. Well, think about people that have a service or a talent of some kind. It's good to stay with service, right? Well, they
Yep.
could still be making some money, if a plumber it just happens to be home or doesn't have an appointment between 1 and 3, and then all of a sudden he gets a text, hey, Lee
Right.
Lee needs help with the shower. Are you available? And he generates income from his phone.
That sounds kind of awkward, but whatever.
Hey, it's the family show. It's the family show.
Yeah, right. I mean, it kind of fills his downtime too, which is what a lot of people are doing when they're driving Uber or delivering for Postmates or something like that. It's a great way to combine expertise with a consumer need, right?
Yep. Like Lee, I am available to drink craft beer at a moment's notice with anyone who needs a buddy. So just let me know.
Me too. And bourbon. Yep. Don't forget the bourbon. All right, next up.
Yes. So, disclaimer down below, this is not a political statement, nor do we endorse any candidate from this presentation. What I found interesting about this, so the Biden campaign, albeit very quickly, right, is engaging in the video game and app space and promoting their campaign. So there's a game called Animal Crossing New Horizons.
I have no idea what you're talking about,
options.
Sean. I've never heard of Animal Crossing.
Well, I'll be honest too. I had not either.
I certainly don't spend 6 or 7 hours playing it a day.
Right. Well, the thing that I like about this is you have to be open to the channels where people are, right? So
Yeah.
Too often we will very quickly gravitate towards thinking we know where everyone is, or we go to where we have been talking to them. So the Biden campaign, right? They are going into the video game space in a really cute way of having digital yard signs, right, to put in front of houses. And I think it's a brilliant example of, should I say, thinking outside the box, right?
Good one.
Trying to communicate. So,
Excellent.
Lisa Day by Day says Animal Crossing rocks. Lisa, I'll ask you if you know how many people have the app, because I was looking and I couldn't find a count. So if you happen to know how many people have the app, I'd love to know.
Yeah, and also let's hear it in the chat. Who is playing Animal Crossings? And you can say a friend if you want to say that. Wink, wink.
Right.
All right, let's move on to the next one here. So this is awesome. I love this because it's difficult for us to travel right now, and I've seen a lot of Facebook memes and things like that talking about let's post someplace we'd rather be right now, and there's a lot of memories being posted about those great vacations that we took last year, and so we're all kind of jonesing to be at other places, right? So Lay's is countering that with let's go ahead and make some flavors of different areas that you can sample. So Lay's now offers 4 different new potato chips in flavors from Greece, from Mexico, from Thailand, and from Germany. And the first thing I thought of, Sean, when I saw this is Club Cool at Epcot with all the different Coca-Cola beverages that you can try. And then you get that one from Italy called Beverly, and you're like, oh, and then you make somebody else try it by accident.
Right. You
I
have
love
to
that.
recommend it, right, to people that you don't know. And you go,
Yeah.
oh, try this one here. It's really good. And then walk away.
Yeah,
It's terrible.
exactly. So
Yeah.
I love this because one of the cool things that we got to do back when I was at Disney at Creative Inc. is it was a really great job because we traveled around the world to show people creativity and innovation. And one of the things that my colleagues would do, me and Victoria, or me and Christopher, or me and Sura, we would always go into the grocery store to find out how products were translated in different places. And one of the consistent products, believe it or not, was potato chips, and potato chips in different flavors around different parts of the world were really, really interesting. And I'm almost like to see them bring those flavors from other areas into it as well, and not just the these four kind of simple flavors. Let's go for some complex flavors from Johannesburg, or something from Hong Kong, or something from Argentina. Right? It'd just be really, really cool to see. I love that.
I mean, Lee, and I certainly do not know what the production time is, right, for a bag of chips and to change up a flavor and packaging and all that.
Yeah.
But man, to your point, I mean, thinking globally of places, but also what if they could react to milestones throughout the year? So, what does Lay's do for Earth Day or Ocean's Day or
Right.
Valentine's Day? My cousin worked for a big beer distributor up in Alaska. So beer was always cold.
Yeah. That sounds like a great perk. Great cousin.
But I was trying to get him to pitch. I forget which beer company he was with. I don't know why Budweiser or Anheuser-Busch or someone doesn't do at Valentine's Day a dozen long necks.
Yeah.
Right?
I love it.
It's
I love
brilliant.
it.
I know, but no one seems to want to buy it. I don't know. I would
No,
buy it.
I love that. I'm actually looking at the chat right now, and Cheryl was talking about how Beverly is a rite of passage. It is indeed. And Diana said R.I.P. Beverly and Club Cool, so I guess it's not there anymore. So that's a bummer. And just so you know, Diana, you mentioned links. We have got an entire link document that we'll send you in a link that has all of the content that we'll be talking about that, and you'll see it at the link to it at the very end. Plus, we'll post it in the chat.
I'm going to post it right now.
Okay.
Yep.
Dozen long necks and red bottles that become keepsakes. Yes, and you can customize them and write "I love you" all over them. I mean, nothing says love like 12 Budweisers, right?
Exactly.
All right, let's talk about this. This is super cool. First of all, we were promised flying cars like, 40 years ago? This is the casual we're talking about, you guys. Look at him go. Dude, that's amazing.
This is my boy, right? Iron Man. So I don't know how many people actually saw the news, but fascinating that 2 airline pilots reported seeing a flying man with a jet suit, right? Now, I find it equally as interesting, and I'm just going to read what we put in the deck. A Jetpack expert told CBS News he doubts the pilots actually saw the technology, right? So there's a cover-up of some kind happening there. But what this whole thing made me think about is, let's say this guy was sitting in his lounger, right, watching ESPN, and his wife says, "Hey, honey, you know that little bakery up in Atlanta? Can you fly up there real quick with a jetpack and go get some cupcakes?" Right? And
I would totally do that.
Right?
I would totally do that. I'm like, I'll fly anywhere.
Exactly. But the thing is, I mean, how old is just the mode of transportation of an airplane? It has not changed in decades.
Right.
But we continue to accept that it's okay. And actually, it's kind of gotten worse, right? Seats are smaller. They're putting more people in. The food is gone, which is probably a good thing. Probably the only good thing is no more smoking on the airlines. But it just inspired me to start to think about what exists that we use today that we just keep using it exactly the way that it is.
The car lighter electricity thing comes to mind because they haven't changed that car lighter slot since it was a lighter, and now it's an official style of plug that we've just molded around. It doesn't really need to be there anymore, right? I mean, most cars they're just putting USB plugs in, but it's amazing how long that stayed around, right?
And Living Life Laura mentioned about the Blaine stunt with the helium balloons.
Yeah.
Right, where he went up?
Yeah, that's awesome.
Mode of transportation? Who knows?
Totally awesome. All right, moving right along here. So, you have a huge company and you have a deficit of jobs because there's not enough educated people to fill those jobs. So what do? You start your own certificate program, right? This is a beautiful idea from Google. They definitely have a shortage of data analysts and UX designers, project managers, and so they're actually offering their own school, right? So instead of having to go to get a 4-year degree, which is going to cost you anywhere from 20 to 80 to 200 grand, pay us $300, we'll skill you up, and we'll hire you for a job, a project manager, $93,000, data analyst, $66K, UX designer, $75K, and we'll give you your certificate. And it seems that this may start a trend of maybe we don't need to have a 4-year degree when we get a good professional position. I just find this really interesting because they have a need that they need to fill. So instead of relying on the education system to provide them with candidates, they're skilling up their own candidates. And Sean, this reminded me, didn't you took a degree program from IDEO, or a certificate program from IDEO in design thinking, right?
I did a couple of things. I did a 3-month program with MIT. I don't know if that qualifies me to wear the T-shirt or not, but yeah, it was brilliant. So it was a 3-month program on mastering design thinking. And then IDEO, which I am just a huge fan of their design organization, what they do and the type of work that they do. But IDEO has a whole separate unit called IDEO U. And so they have training programs. And I took one that they had of Introduction to Design Thinking. And they do a lot of podcasting and other conferences. And I mean, really, Lee, it's like modern day blacksmith apprentice, right? It's like apprenticing for the technology of the times, and it's brilliant because it's going to save people so much money, and then it's a great way for companies to recruit their future employees.
Yeah, I think this might be a good time to plug that product that you and I are working on too, because I mean, that's kind of an apprentice program a little bit, isn't it?
It is. So Lee and I came together and we're kicking things around, and you see the little logo down in the corner over there. Right, no,
other way, yeah, over there.
There we go. Yeah. Brainstorm in a box. And what Lee and I noticed is that a lot of the training, or a lot of innovation and facilitation brainstorms that take place, it takes place with a facilitator, which is a huge advantage when you have someone that can do it, right, and do it well.
And a huge advantage to us because that's what we get paid to do.
Yes. So what we wanted to do, though, is sometimes people just need a little bit of courage and a little bit of guidance to do something on their own in their organization. So Brainstorm in a Box is under construction right now. It's going to be a series of very short videos and a very broad library of them that will have and demonstrate, here's all these different facilitation techniques based on trying to solve a certain problem or do it in a certain way. Here's a number of videos on how to put your session together, the benefit of how to take notes, certain things to have in the room, what to do with the concepts that you build afterwards, so on and so forth. So we're going to make this available as an outlet and a resource for people to sign up and be able to have access to the opportunities to learn, to be able to do sessions in innovation training a little bit on their own for their organizations.
Awesome. Good plug. Well done. Okay, just checking out the chats here. Diana's talking about another new thing worth checking out. The Khan Academy offers Imagineering in a box. That's interesting. Good. Thanks, Lucky Scorched Earth Turbo. I love that name. Thank you. Hey, Jaybird Kitchen is here. Welcome. He's a VIP too, so welcome, Jay. Thanks for being here. Okay, so let's go to our next slide here, and this is, tell us about this, Sean.
Reebok. So when I first read this, I thought, okay, so Reebok is looking to crowdsource designs of their shoes. But to me, where it varies a little bit is in the execution. And they are taking the idea of a true startup that is pushing an early product out and trying to fundraise for it. Oh my gosh, Lee, and I know we were talking about it earlier, and I totally blanked on the site.
Kickstarter.
There you go.
Yeah.
Kickstarter.
Again,
So
we're old, Sean. And
Right.
we're counting on you guys in the chat to whenever we have those momentary fades of memory to help us out here. So thank you very much. This is the casualness we were talking about.
So, long story short, Reebok is going to put designs, concepts of shoes, and make them available for consumers to, one, vote on. But the way that the vote will be recognized is by committing a payment to the early concept. So the first person who likes the shoe commits $1 to it. Then the
Oh,
price goes
connecting those
up by
things.
a
That's
dollar.
great.
Price goes up by a dollar. So early, right? Early interest who commit, they could get a new pair of shoes for $5, 8, 9. Once they reach the threshold of the full retail price, theoretically Reebok's going to take that as a proof of concept, and then they're going to make the shoe. And
Nice.
I thought it was brilliant as a way to, hey, let's not make something because we can make it. Let's actually see what people want and what they need and give them a shot to vote on it. And then,
Yeah.
great, we'll make it for them.
I like it. I think that the remember the fiasco like 10 years ago when Greenpeace asked people to name their next boat, and the most voted on item was Bodie McBoatson. That might have avoided the whole Bodie McBoatson ordeal, right? So if you're going to vote for Bodie McBoatson, you got to put in $1 for this. They're like, no, you can name what you want. So funny.
And yes, like, and I am totally going to butcher this, Tsunami Shinobu talked
Yep.
about the Lego ideas, and you could submit ideas for Lego sets to be built. Yep.
Yeah, I love that. And also they put a threshold on like
Both
10,000
ways.
likes and you get consider making it a reality. So that's super cool. Okay, moving on. This is a concept called the Friendly Bench, and this is kind of a nonprofit franchise that's created for communities to kind of bring people together to socialize, basically, and designed for like outdoor spaces. It's active social hubs that aims to kind of keep people from social isolation. Now, it originally started before all the quarantine started, so they had to make some adjustments because they used to have events and things like that. But they now have it where it's socially distanced, and they have a crew of people that come and clean up after it and stuff like that. And it's just a great way to kind of keep those social spaces. And what this reminds me of is one of the last projects I worked on at Disney was doing some consumer insight work for the new Destino Tower. And one of the things that we discovered or uncovered during that process was the fact that conventioners who came to Coronado Springs, they could see the content anywhere, so they weren't really coming for the content. They were coming for the connection, right? And so Imagineering did this incredible job of kind of reimagineering those spaces. So in between events, people will be able to make those connections. And they were inspired by Gaudi and Park Güell, where there's like purposely designed spaces to have transactions, right? And this is exactly that. So a purposely designed space that goes in the middle of a community, and that's what everybody knows it to be. It's like your local pub. You come out and hang out, you chit chat, you talk, you move on, right? Really, really great idea, and sustainable. They don't serve beer. Not quite sure if you can bring your own, but just a great nonprofit franchise idea. Anything else you'd add to that?
The one word I want to point out, Lee, is this one right here, pivot.
Oh, yes.
Right. So they had the organization had to pivot because of COVID. And sure, the solution doesn't exactly match the point of their creation of people in person, but they're creating online virtual events still underneath their organization. They'll go back to normal when they can, but I think we probably have all seen companies and organizations, different sizes, doesn't matter the size, that have just gotten stuck in the mud of this situation. They've fought it more than they've said, all right, this is what it is. Let's embrace it and figure out how to keep moving forward. So I like that they were able to pivot.
All right. Also very interesting. Little office, actually hub space. Tell us about this one.
And just as a time check for everyone, we are down to our number 10 presentation here, number 10 story. Most people have probably seen or have been thinking about this quite a bit lately. What is office space, and what is the office space requirement going to be for employees going back to work? And it definitely has been all over the board. I have seen studies, it depends who's giving it, of, workers want to go back in the office 4 to 5 days a week. The exact opposite, nobody wants to go back to an office, and then in the middle. And I think probably where we're going to land, which this story was actually highlighting a couple of large consultancies like KPMG right, with a lot of office space and a lot of employees. And what they are seeing is not just their existing office space and creating it as a hub that would be shared. So on Monday, the accounting team comes in. On Tuesday, it's the marketing team. But it's also creating suburban hubs so that it's almost like skipping or bypassing WeWork and shareable spaces. It's almost like organizations owning their own shareable spaces in suburban areas so people can congregate and not have to go to the super Walmart office.
Right.
Right. They can go to just a smaller space for a smaller group of employees in and around where they live. And,
I love Laura's comment. Wouldn't it be great if the cube space goes away forever? Yeah, and there's mixed feelings. I remember there was a lot of people that were in favor of that at when I worked at Disney, is kind of doing that open space environment, and some people were really worried that because they were so easily distracted they wouldn't be able to concentrate. But I've seen some really great designs where you can kind of mix both the introverts and the extroverts in the same space, and they do a really great job. But I don't know. Who wants to go? Do we want to go back to the office? Don't we want to go back to the office? I'd love to have you guys comment on. I've seen Facebook quotes on both. Some people don't want to step foot in an office ever again, and I've seen people say, "Oh, I can't wait to go back to the office." So yeah, let us know. Really,
yes
really,
or no? Yes or no?
Interesting.
And
Hybrid,
Diana
hybrid sounds good to me too.
I love Diana Soar's thought. The building office sheds in their backyards. Yeah,
Yeah.
I think I should buy stock in Tough Shed because I think that actually is brilliant. Right?
Yeah.
Tricked out little shed with AC and electricity, and yeah, it's awesome.
Well, that also is good. It's good for your psyche too, because you have to actually leave it and shut the door and go back in the house. I've created myself this studio, and I created it because I wanted to create a nice space that I wanted to hang out in, but I find that time goes by so quickly. I'll look up and it's 7 p.m. and I've been in here all day. So having that shed, like separating it, seems to be like a great way to separate to work and home life.
Yeah.
We're all living at work. What could be better? Exactly, Jay.
Right.
Jay's got an interesting situation too, because he's working right across from his spouse, and so they're kind of sharing an office together, and it works out interesting for them because they might have shared meetings with folks that then go, "Hey, make sure that person calls me back while you have them on the line." So that's awesome. All right, and that, my friends, is the end of the presentation. I'm going to fade us back here really quick. So, any parting thoughts, Sean?
I have to say this went much better, I think, than I anticipated it was going to.
Amen. I think both of us are slightly surprised that it did. So,
but I love it, and I mean, our plan, right, Lee, and keep me honest. The timeline that we used to do this and stuck with it for many, many years inside Disney is it was the first Friday of every month.
Right.
And so people could plan it on their calendars because you get busy, and you could plan one Friday a month to step away for an hour from your desk. So we're thinking our next session might be October 2nd, I think is that first Friday.
Yep.
But we want to keep doing it, and I think we would love any thoughts, comments, critical feedback. We have an email address that will come up on the last slide before we sign off. We would love for you guys to share any thoughts and guidance.
Definitely, and we really appreciate you all coming out, and also appreciate you signing up for the Twitch app to do it. Unfortunately, we don't have the Creative Lab anymore. For those of you at Disney, if you remember, we had this great site that you could post stuff and we would pull from it to do Creative Couch. So please use that email address. And if you see something really cool and really inspiring, send it to us. We'd love to include it. I know somebody asked earlier if they could suggest topics that we'll talk about. So that's the way to do that. Just make sure that you send it to us and we'll post it. And if you want to start the dialogue in the email that you send, we'll definitely start that dialogue. And again, what we hope to do is just to inspire you, just like we used to do back at Disney. We want you to have this space once a month to come in, and if you haven't had time to check any of your inspiration feeds, we'll feed it to you in a 45-minute to an hour long time frame, and then you could go about the rest of your month and be inspired and create some big ideas. Sound good? All right, we will be signing off here. So again, we appreciate you guys coming out, and thank you. It looks like we had a total of, at the height, Sean, we had about 25 people in here. So thank you to all of us. I'm seeing there's A lot of our Disney friends are in here, so thanks again for coming out. For those of you newbies, we hope you appreciate the format. Any suggestions or feedback, please send it to that email address, and we will catch you all later. All right?
Thanks, guys.
All right.
Here comes the slide with our contact info.
Thank you.